The news summary, good evening. About 20 vendors and farmers who sell their produce outside the Victoria Market signed a petition in protest against an order asking them to take their produce home at the end of the day instead of leaving them at the market as they used to before. These sellers are unhappy since they have not been consulted by the new manager of the Victoria Market, who has just been appointed in November. It was Mr. Ralph Cesar, on behalf of the vendors, who presented this petition to the Agriculture Ministry this morning. Responding to the situation, the new market manager, Vincent Rome, said that those street vendors are using the market as a storage area, which goes against the public health standard. And he confirmed that the previous management informed the vendors verbally about the decision, which has now been translated in a notice. Today, the 1st of December, is World AIDS Day. In her message for the occasion, the Minister for Health, Peggy Vidot, said that it is time for a reflection on what we have achieved with regards to the national and global response to HIV and what we still must achieve. She said that this year's theme, and inequalities and AIDS and all pandemics, is a call for action to all countries to end the economic, social, agriculture, and legal inequalities. And she adds that as we fight the double pandemic, we need special efforts directed towards maintaining essential HIV prevention and treatment services that the COVID pandemic and response have awakened. All stakeholders to use this opportunity to play a central role in protecting the vulnerable population from exposure to transmission and to join in the fight to end inequalities and AIDS. And in an activity to commemorate the World AIDS Day, the Communicable Diseases, HIV, and Sexual Reproductive Health and Rights Committee, together with the employees at the National Assembly, lighted up candles as a sign of respect for those who lost their lives with HIV. They were also given red ribbons of awareness to wear, and there were also condoms and leaflets available. Vice Chairperson of the committee, Egbert Aglaé, says that the National Assembly is working on 2 motions regarding the HIV/AIDS.
First of all, the stigmatization that exists with this disease, and also to create accessibility, especially for the young generation. As Parliament, we will continue in the support with the Ministry of Health to at least achieve the target of the 90, that is to have 90% of our population tested, and also 90% of people living with HIV and AIDS on treatment.
Seychelles has, during the past few years, reduced significantly the inequalities that exist in terms of tests and treatments for HIV, though there is still a lot more to be done. The Chief Executive of the National AIDS Council, Dr. Anne Gabriel, made the comments to the press during a ceremony to mark World AIDS Day. During the ceremony, participants who attended a validation workshop early on comprehensive sexuality education for the youth lit candles in memory of AIDS victims.
We must admit that in Seychelles we've done a lot to reduce inequalities, and testing is available to anyone who wants it. It's for free. Treatment is also available for free. Services are for free. Condoms are for free. So there is this element, there is much effort which has been done in order to reduce inequalities. But we do still have inequalities. For example, out of the 1,000 patients who are infected in Seychelles with HIV, we have 1/3 who are women and 2/3 who are men. This is something which has been with us for a long time. However, those below the age of 20 are mostly girls. And the other inequality we have is also concerning age. We have people, the youth being affected, but also people over the age of 50 who are starting to get more affected in that way, who are being infected in different ways. And then there is a group called the key populations. In Seychelles, we have groups which are more at risk of being infected, and these are men who have sex with men. You have prisoners, we have sex workers, and of course we have the people who use drugs and who inject drugs specifically. But people must not think that these are the only ways by which you can get HIV. After 5 years, from 2016 to 2020, we realized that most people are getting it through sex. So it's sexual transmission which is the most important. So the use of the condom is still very relevant, and people have to protect themselves. So it's not just a case of wearing a mask against COVID, but also using a condom to protect yourself against HIV.
Seychelles has been dropped off the list of countries not allowed to enter Australia because of concerns of Omicron, a variant of COVID-19 which has not been detected here. A press release from the Ministry of Tourism says that the confirmation was made by the Office of the Prime Minister of Australia on the 29th of November. This follows concerns following the detection of the Omicron variant in some southern African countries, and which has also now been detected in Australia. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Tourism, Sylvestre Radegonde, has expressed satisfaction that Seychelles has now been removed from Australia's list of concern. According to the press release, the Seychelles Foreign Affairs Department intervened with its counterparts in Australia immediately after the receipt of the advisory, discussion of which has led to the positive outcome. The National Assembly has approved a budget of 87 million rupees for the Ministry of Employment and Social Affairs and the Social Workers Council. Questions for employment centered around job opportunities, especially for the youth. On social affairs, questions were mostly on social workers, encouragement and training for them. And more than half of the budget for Social Workers Council will go towards modernizing its law, allowing to better deliver its mandate as a regulatory body. The President's Village received a donation of 100,000 rupees with the Chinese embassy. The donation will benefit the school with its ongoing renovation. The home also received several educational materials for school and future development purposes.
The donation will be used for in the reconstruction of 2 houses in the villages. Since we are using the sponsorship money to renovate the houses, this has helped us a lot to ensure that the renovation will go according to plans.
Waste removal contractors could be fined or even face imprisonment if they do not abide to the new regulations that came into force on the 12th of November. Officers from the ministry responsible for environment explained in a press conference this afternoon that the aim of the new measures is to improve waste management in the country. Up to next year, the ministry will embark on a sensitization campaign to provide information to relevant partners and groups. The senior legal officer, Sharon Géry, stated some of the obligations that the waste removal contractors have to abide to.
Obligations for persons engaging in waste services to register with the agency, the Landscape and Waste Management Agency. It creates an obligation on people organizing massive outdoor events to have contracts with waste contractors, to have provisions for waste services, and also it creates an obligation for various commercial establishments to engage and to have a contract with a specific waste contractor. And these services and the manner in which these services will be conducted, they are provided under various schedules.
And that's it for the news summary. We'll be back at 8 for the Creole News Bulletin. Bye bye for now.